Hey, real quick before we start this video, tonight we've got our first SB01 triple win-a-box tournament on the online client. It has up to 64 players. We've got about a dozen spots as of recording, and we also will be live streaming it here on my Twitch and YouTube. So make sure to check it out if you haven't already, link to the description, and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and I've been seeing quite an uptick of interest for the Fusion World card game over the last couple of weeks, and I think part of it is because, one, we got those new star decks last month, we also got the new restriction list at the beginning of this month, and we also have the new SB01 set, which I know a lot of people are even just opening the product, right? It's a very beautiful set. There's a lot of great cards from that, and I know a lot of people have been kind of interested in how to play this game, or what are some good decks to start playing this game as well. So that's why I decided to make this video kind of more on the budget leaning side, where people who are trying to get into this game for the first time, or maybe even come back after taking a break, these are some kind of good deck lists to maybe get your toes wet for the Fusion World card game. So one thing to note is that these are not like best deck lists. There's obviously ways to upgrade these outside of it, but I did kind of make it a separate kind of meta for it, so an SB01 budget. These are my deck lists from staff deck lists. So if you go to the FB06 section of my website, Eggman Events, go to staff and team deck list, and you can find these ones here. So all the decks we're going to talk about today you can find out there. And then also, if you guys need links to this, links to the websites in the description as well. We do a really good job keeping this updated to all the new stuff that's going on. And with SB01 just releasing and some big events coming out, we're going to have that updated as well. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. But we are going to go over these deck lists again. We're going to start off with these new star decks that we got last month. So these decks have been really good. I'm going to probably go quicker through these as well, but generally they're pretty good outside the box, where you just need to get 2 copies of the star deck, which are obviously, if you don't buy the star deck in person, these decks are actually pretty cheap on the online client. They just cost $10, so pretty satisfying there. Obviously, if you buy the in-person star deck, you do also get a code for these too. So either or, I think that's a pretty good way to do it. I think Shao is the cheaper of the two, but it is a little bit weaker in all things considered. But you do just play a lot of cards out of the box as is. The only card that I think as a super that you need is the Chi-Chi Childhood from FB06. This card is just really great at self-awakening and just being a way to get that extra 10k. The fact that we don't draw on the front side is a bit weak, but more and more playing this, I'm like, if I drew on the front side of this card too, it'd be pretty silly. I'd say I'd rather have the activate main on the front side than drawing on the front side, and being able to make these 6 drop 30k bodies or 35k bodies. A lot of decks have a hard time removing them, and that helps you out quite a bit. So I think that's really strong for this build. And again, if you just get 2 of these star decks, put the super rares together, and build something like this, I think you're in a pretty good spot to take a couple games and just kind of learn how the game works, even though this one's a little bit more particular. So the only other thing I would say is that if you want to upgrade it a little bit more, we've got the 6-drop Gogeta. This card is a super rare from FB06 as well. You don't get to play it off your leader effect, but the fact that it's a really good removal card and helps you against yellow specifically, it prevents them from restanding cards, which yellow's pretty relevant right now, I think is a really great way for you to be able to interact with those decks too. So generally, I think this is a solid deck, and if you like to play more of play the big bodies decks, this is a really good one. And we also have Giblet, which I think Giblet is probably the stronger of the two. It's a pretty good way to just be very aggressive. I think this one needs a little bit of an upgrade though with the 7-drop Son Goku. So this is a secret rare, which is a little bit expensive to get either in person or on the online client. But if you have one or 2 copies of it, I think you definitely put in this deck. I think even if you don't play this card, you can definitely supplement it with copies of Turles as well. So it's not like, where you have to play the Son Goku secret rare, but if you have a copy or 2, again, you do play it. This also is reprinted in the SB01 set, so either you can buy it in person, pull it in person, or if you get, even in your free packs, there's a good chance that you can get this secret rare in those, and so that helps you get that. So I think, honestly, green's one of the better colors in this game. That's not also, the secret rare is fantastic. The fact that this is really obtainable compared to other secret rares is really nice, and the fact that, I think green is budget friendly otherwise. So we're going to see a lot of other green decks, but if you get a Son Goku secret rare, I think any green deck in the meta right now can really take advantage of that, more or less. So generally speaking, the rest of this, this is mostly just cards that we get from specifically either the star deck, so you can see all these are star deck cards, or even the Son Goku and Son Gohan Childhood are just really good cards that are also reprinted in SB01. They have all art versions, and by all art I mean just reskinned, right? They're just commons, right? So you can get them in a couple packs, and also the instant Kamehameha. All three of these cards are in the SB01. So generally speaking, if you just only care about like SB01 cards and SB01 packs, it's very easy for you to build this deck. I think it's very strong. This deck is a little bit combo heavy. If you played One Piece, it's kind of similar to the green and purple Luffy in my mind, where you have these abilities to lose energy and then get it back, and then kind of you're floating around like lower energy costs, but your deck kind of revolves around it. So honestly, I think this is the best way for you to get in the game if anyone wants to try it. Just play the Giblet deck, just have some couple of upgrades. If you don't have any Son Gokus, that's fine. But try to get, I would say like the optimal copies of it are 2 or 3. But even if you have 0, you can use the Turles to kind of supplement the double strike pressure that you get otherwise. So make sure to check this one out. I think this is one of the best, if not the best way to get in the game if you haven't already. All right, we're going to go through the rest kind of based on color. So I kind of did it where I had a deck that was primarily boosted from SB01, and then just kind of another deck kind of offshoot for the for the same thing. But this video is going to kind of focus on, you bought a bunch of SB01 packs and you want to kind of convert them into a deck for this game in general. So we've got the Cell here. So this deck's actually, I think, been very strong. I think been a little bit better than I expected. I wanted this deck to be good, but I was kind of worried about if you're able to do well with kind of yellow barrier decks running around too. You do have to run a couple of super rares. I would say the priority is that Aandroidd 18, you want as many copies of this card as you can. If you only have like 2 or 3, that's fine. You can supplement it as well with the other Aandroidd 18 1-drop, so you can bump this up to 4 copies. Probably even just do like a 4-3 split right there. The 5-drop Cell, I think you kind of need 2 or 3 copies of this at least. Some decks usually play 3 to 4 at the max copies for it. So this is kind of like our boss monster, for lack of other words. I think that's a really strong card for being able to get some removal and kind of like being able to proc your leader effect. The fact that it also works really, really well with the Cell Junior, I think is really great as well. So that's very helpful for the deck. I think the combos you get to do with this is great. The Aandroidd 16 is a nice to have super rare. I don't think you strictly need it, but most people play it at 3 to 4 copies. The fact that it's a 10k that has removal that also procs their leader effect, all of these is really good. So I know a lot of people have been playing this copy, like 3 to 4 copies. And then we do have like most of the cards you get from this one, you can just build from the SB01 set, which is really nice. I think the only other cards I would consider playing is that the Fusion Aandroidd 13 I know has been really good for specifically yellow. The fact that if they block this attack, you get to restand it if you KO the card. So that can be really, really strong in that sense. It just prevents your opponent from really being able to use their blockers in a meta where a lot of people are playing blockers too. We also do have, I think the only other card I would say you would want to get is like a double striker. So if you end up getting like the first starter deck, which is pretty easy to get on the online client, you can also just get the Son Goku. This is like a finisher for the deck. I know a lot of people play double strike, a lot of people don't at the same time, but especially if you are like missing your 5-drop cells, like you can have 1 or 2 of these kind of supplemented. It still has like the removal, right? It's a 35k double strike. It's a little bit less flexible with kind of how the deck works in general, but I think that can be a good way to do that. So here's like a basic version of Cell. Again, I don't think you need this card, but it's really nice to have 2 or 3 copies of this. You can supplement it with Son Goku, and then as many copies of this as you can. I'd say like between the Aandroidd 18 1-drops, you should probably have about 7. So 4-3 split or 3-4 split, whatever you can do, I think kind of makes sense. But here it is there. Next up, we've also got the Aandroidd 18. So we kind of see the cards I was kind of mentioning as well, where Fusion Aandroidd 13 and Son Goku can be in those good spots. I know a lot of people have been trying to play this deck, and since you can pretty much use all of the Cell stuff in this leader too, I think it's very strong. The other thing is the Bleak Future, which this card also got reprinted in the in the SB01 as well. You can use this to really attack active cards, which is I think more important in this meta compared to where we were in FB06. So that can help you a lot as well. Obviously works really good with Fusion Aandroidd 13 as well. You can kind of do like a board clear with the combination of these cards because you're able to just get rid of everything down the line, because if this card can just, the auto switch this card active mode when you KO something is not once per turn. So you can just keep on attacking things and then restanding and attacking again. So I think it's a really good combo that Aandroidd 18 has in particular. It can help you against the board that has like a wider board of weenies, which is really good. So other than that, like I'd say Fusion World Warrior, Fusion Aandroidd 13 is a little bit more important for this one in particular, but by and large, both these I think are pretty similar. Kind of goes down to kind of gameplay style. I would say that Android 18, this one's a little bit less important. We still play like the cell chains for it as well, but again, like you're just kind of focusing on a little bit more difference. The fact that like the plus 20k you get from this is on a battle card, attacking a battle card is fine. It just means like your removal is a lot better, and you can help. It just helps you get there as well. So otherwise, here's the build for Android 18. And moving on to blue, we've got Son Goku Childhood, which I'm gonna be honest, this deck needs a lot. This deck is really tough to make as a budget deck list. I know a lot of people want to play it. It's pretty unique for how it works, but I'm kind of scraping the barrel with like the bottom of the barrel of like what are the minimum amount of super rares and secret rares that you need, and it's still a lot. It's still a lot for both of them. So my apologies for this one. I don't think you can really play this as much budget. You can definitely play with less super rares, but like the consistency really kind of gets hit from it. So the most important card though I think is the new Son Goku Childhood from SB01. So if your leader has World Martial Arts, World Tournament in its traits, choose up to one battle card that costs 2 or less, bottom deck it, then draw trash 2, and then also when attacked you get to add a card from your life to your hand. Like this card like really does so much for us. It helps us set up the fact that it helps us self-awaken by just, if it stays on board, you get to use the effect every turn. Very kind of solid card for the deck and kind of the keystone. I'd say the second most important super is Jackie Chun. If this card stays on board, you just get to get a draw 1 every turn, which is really important to take that kind of recursion. And if your opponent doesn't remove this card, I think there's a lot of like kind of battle removal based right now. There's less like hard removal in the meta outright outside of like the red Aandroidd stuff. So because of that, like Jackie Chun can really stay around for a while and get you that extra benefit. You also have Tin Shinhan. This just gets you like some benefits of like recycling your cards in the mid to late game. I think like 3 copies of this is probably where I would want to be. 3 or 4 copies. 2 is fine, but you do kind of need it to really recycle some of your extra cards at times. And then we also have Great Ape Son Goku. This card I will say is like a bit superfluous. Don't feel like I feel like you can play the deck without it, but it is great. The fact that it's a 10k, the fact that sometimes the best thing for you to do is turn 2, just play this as a 25k attacker. You're not like really upset by doing that, and then if they KO it, you get to draw a card from your trash. So all of that is just really good. So I think if you this one's the worst card of the super rare, so if you don't have it, don't worry about it. But I definitely would play as many copies as I can just because it also is a 10k. So some kind of ways to supplement it, and a lot of these cards are also in the SB01 set. We've got Chi-Chi, we've got Chi-Chi and Bulma, I think are the 2 that I'm preferring right now, especially because we are playing more of the World Tournament Arena. I didn't like this card in SBO or FBO6, but I've been finding that the best way to play Goku so far has been kind of like a slow burn, kind of like, you fight for advantage. You want to awaken, but you don't need to awaken super quickly because you kind of get bullied afterwards. So World Tournament Arena on 2 I've been finding is just really strong for the deck in general, and is just really helpful. So that is there. You also can just play it like off your leader effect sometimes, where you don't sometimes you just don't have like a good extra card, your opponent doesn't really leave you with something, so that helps you too. I've also been finding like Yamcha's been really strong, stronger than I've been expecting lately. The fact that it's a self-awakener, that it's really easy for this just to be a 30k attack, and that makes it kind of difficult for your opponent to do anything with. And then we have Nam, which is just a good 10k, which is kind of a supplement for Jackie Chun and Great Ape Son Goku. So for any of these copies that you're missing, I think adding copies of Nam makes sense there. So other than that, the extra cards are pretty easy to get. These are the ones I've been playing. Honestly, then it's all the new ones and Cross-Arm Dive. I think that's pretty fair. I know people play the Rock, Scissors, Paper, but I think Kamehameha Full Power is essentially the same. Like the draw 2 you get from Rock, Scissors, Paper is kind of rough when in a deck where there's just so many like non-counters and extras where it's hard to convert from there. So I haven't been running it and haven't been missing it. So lastly, Secret Son Goku. This card is kind of needed for the deck, right? It's our finisher for it, so you need at least like 1 or 2 copies in my mind. So which I know is a little bit tough and it is a little bit expensive. So I do recognize that, and I do apologize for that one. But again, like this is the deck that I think is one of the less budget friendly ones from SB01, just because of how many like super rares and secret rares you need. But if you happen to have them, you definitely go for it, and you can keep upgrading it from there. I would say like the max amount of copies of this card I would play is 3, so don't feel bad if you only have 2. I think that's fine as well, and it's been fun kind of deciding how to build this deck correctly. So here's the build there. All right, next up we got Vegeta Mini Daima, and we've been kind of bouncing around like what's like the best, post Pilaf deck for blue now. And I've been really liking Vegeta Mini Daima. I think this deck is pretty flexible when it comes to how you build it, and also just what's available to you. I will say, like, this build specifically, you probably shouldn't build one for one. This one kind of shows a little bit more of like what cards to consider. I think like the most important cards are Vegeta Mini Daima, which is a promo, but you can get in the store. I think it's like 100 gems for it, so it's pretty easy to get this, as well as the Vegeta Mini Daima from FB06. Both these cards are just good enough to kind of carry the deck in its own way, from my experience. And then from there, we do just kind of have some additional like draw one cards. Like if you just buy the star deck for this and then you add a couple cards, I think you're in a good spot. You probably need to get the star deck from the original Vegeta star deck SB01 as well, but both those just really add to what you need to do. You do just probably play 2 copies of Vegeta Daima. If you happen to have Son Goku Childhood, probably play it, but don't feel bad if you don't. You can still just play this one. And then also we have like these Vegito secret rares from FB02 and FB04. I think these cards are good in slot, but I also don't think they're hard needed, so don't feel bad if you don't have them. And then we also have Goku Black, which I think this card is a pretty good super rare to kind of get some late game value. The fact that you can grab and get back the Vegeta Mini Daima from it and get some more removal is really nice, and it really helps you with like getting your kind of cost loops from there. So this one is like a little bit more toolbox, I would say. I think the most important thing is we have our low end. I think Videl is also kind of like a mildly important super rare for the deck, so you probably need to play like 1 or 2 copies of this. I would not play more than 3 personally, but it does help you get some recursion, especially with Pilaf gone. But I think like specifically like Vegeta Mini Daima it had like the good problem where you just would have so many cards in your hand that it was really difficult to actually use Pilaf or Videl's effects. So I would say like even like using Videl, I wouldn't feel too bad about using the effect either. So you can kind of get away with not playing that card, and you can even like get away with not playing Goku Black, but I do think it's mildly important. So but yeah, the fact that this deck is mostly based off these cards, which are pretty easy to get in my opinion, means that I think that you're in an okay spot to probably play this deck if you haven't already. So I think this is probably like the blue deck I would be investing the most time into, outside of Son Goku Childhood, which I've been playing a lot of. So there it is. Moving on to green, we've got Vegeta, which this deck did get a lot of support in FB04, and I do think that you need kind of some of these like super rares that we got from this set, but like outside of it, it's not too terribly bad. The cards outside of SB01 that I think are important are the Great Ape Vegeta, as well as the Son Goku. Again, you kind of want 1 or 2 copies of this. I think you can still use Turles as well in case you need it, because Turles lets you, it's you're sorry, I had to make sure you have to use Giblet as your leader. So you kind of need Son Goku Childhood. Our Great Ape Vegeta. Both these being double strikers that you can cheat out is really great, especially since you've got like the Vegeta 3-drop. So if your leader is Vegeta, you get to draw 1, then activate main for 3. Place this in your drop if you have a field with Full Moon in his name. Play up to 1 Great Ape Vegeta with a cost of 6 from your hand. So that's really great for this. You probably want to play 3 or 4 copies of this. The fact that it's a 5k means that you're not even like too upset for playing it in the deck. We also have the Goku Black as well. So this is just from FS10, but you can use it in this deck too. You place 2 of your energy into your drop, and then you choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and you KO it. So the fact that this can KO anything is in the deck in general. There's also like the Son Gohan battle card, the 3-drop that we got from FB05. I think that card's also pretty good as well. And this is a card that you can play in both Giblet as well as Vegeta too. So generally speaking, I'm not convinced that Vegeta is like strictly better than Giblet either. So if you like Giblet and you want like a different like twist on the deck, I think Vegeta would be like a natural way to kind of upgrade or like side grade the deck into something else. You see that we are playing like the Son Gohan Childhood, Son Goku, and Instant Kamehameha that we talked about earlier. A lot of these cards you can get out of SB01 in general. Your super combo can be anything. And the only other card I would say is that there's the Nappa here. This is a promo which is really easy to get on the online client and is like pending to get on in person. But the fact that you can use this to if your leader's Vegeta during this turn, next time you use a Saiyan only extra card at the cost of 2 or less, you don't have to pay the cost. So that can be to play the Moon from your hand for free, or even just to play this card. You don't even have to like get rid of something. This gets you like a free cycle, which can be helpful to get this card out of your hand in a matchup where it doesn't make as much sense. So I think this deck is good. I know a lot of people have been playing it. I think this one you kind of need 4 copies of just because it helps you awaken and it's really pressure heavy. The fact also that it's it's easy to use this card to awaken later in the game too. So for example, if you need to get to 2 or less life for Son Goku, the Raditz really helps you get there, which is really strong. So other than that, I think this is a great deck. Again, like it's really similar to Giblet, and if you want to have like a different way to upgrade it or like move on from Giblet, I think this is a great way to do that. So there it is. Next up, you've got Aandroidd 17. So this is a an oldie but a goodie. I think Aandroidd 17 has been one of the most consistent decks since the beginning of this game. It came out in FB01 and has been essentially meta relevant since then, or at least until since FB02, since Aandroidd 17/18 came out. So this is also just another like deck that takes advantage of the Goku. This also is just a deck that where if you just take a couple packs of FB01 and like the star deck for Broly, you take a couple of these Broly BRs, you take the gigantic meteors, and just kind of upgrade it from there, you're in a really good spot. So I think like Son Goku Secret Rare still makes sense for the deck. Aandroidd 17/18 from FB01 still makes sense, and the Broly BR from FB06 is also just a really good card too. So if you happen to have a copy or two of this one, it'd not be lost in this deck either. So Aandroidd 7, again, this is never going to be the worst deck in the game. I know a lot of people who were playing it previously were only playing this deck, and I still think it's in a good spot if you only want to play this deck still. So there it is there. Next up, we've got Yellow, and Yellow is unfortunately not as budget friendly, but a lot of the cards that you want to get from it are specifically from SB01 too. So we got 2 important super rares. We got the Bobbity. You probably already have opinions on this card if you've been playing at all in the last couple days. So very strong card. The fact that it gives blocker, especially to barrier cards, is really great. So that helps the deck out a lot. We also have the Majin Buu Kid, which I think this card is strong. I think you can play 3 copies of this card and still be fine, even maybe down to 2. But the fact that it lets you get some card draw and interaction is really great. This card you kind of need 4 copies of, which is maybe expensive for some people, but from FB03, the fact that it has barrier and being able to work with Bobbity is really strong. So I think that's something that's particularly good about this card. Other than that, I think the deck is pretty low on super rares. If you don't have Majin Buu Evil, I don't think you need this card, so you can take it out. I think honestly the better card is Majin Buu Kid. The fact that this can help you end games successfully is really great, especially since even like you're gonna have like a wide board, even if it's just like a bunch of 2-drop Bobbies and stuff. Majin Buu Kid will always have a target for it to be able to pop and restand, and I don't think it's in a bad spot for that either. We play a bunch of 1-drops to get some draws and kind of fill out our curves. Sometimes you have also Majin Buu Evil from the set, and then lastly we have like the energy absorption, and like we have Zarbon, but you can use like the Bobbity or whatever you want to use. So the only other card I would say that you want to maybe upgrade it with is the Son Goku from FB02. If you have any of these, this also was like reprinted in like their premium collection that was online. You can use this card and it's in a good spot. It's like one of the best 10Ks in the deck, so you can probably take out like a Freezer or 2 and put it in there. But I think if you happen to have that super rare, it works really well for Majin Buu Evil and really any yellow deck. Like you can never feel like that card is not like a stranger to any yellow deck that you can play. So definitely play it if you have it. And then we also do have the Bobbity here. This is just kind of like a different way to play the deck. Like there's all yellow Majin decks are pretty similar, and they do kind of depend on the core of the super rare core of the 2-drop Bobbity, the 3-drop Majin Buu, as well as the Majin Buu Kid. The other one is also the 5-drop Majin Buu Kid 2 from FB04. So a little bit expensive too for this one. I think you need at least 2 copies of this one, just because it is just such a good end game finisher, especially when we're already playing like the Majin archetype. So there is that. We are focusing more on like the 2-drop Deborahs, so rather the 2-drop from FB06 that lets you draw cards as long as you have a Bobbity in your battle area, which you should if you play this card, which is really strong. But we also have the Deborah. So if your leader has Bobbity in his card name, or if a card Bobbity in your card names in your battle area, you get to make this a 2-drop. So being able to play a 2-drop 30k, I don't know if you need to hear this, is really good in this game. It has a lot of interaction for just pushing your opponent down. So other than that, I think like this is like a different way to use it. You still kind of need the same core of super rares and stuff. So the benefit is that this deck does not need to run secret rares, right? That's like the benefit for it. So I think that like in person, this deck can be really cheap to build with just the super rares that you need. But I think like outside of that in the client, it could be a little bit trickier because every super rare costs the exact same amount of money in this game, and that's a little bit trickier to see. So anyways, here's the build for Bobbity. And then lastly, we've got Bulma, and I've been really enjoying playing this deck. I don't know how good it is, to be honest, but it's been a fun like challenged to see how good I can make this one. And I know a lot of people have been doing the same thing. So this is a deck you can build almost entirely from just buying SB01 packs. I think the only exception, and kind of the same thing for Shallot, is the Chi-Chi Childhood is a bit of a must for this deck. Just the fact that it's a Self-Awakener, but the fact that it's another way for us to be able to combo cards from our trash is really good for kind of a archetype that's kind of built around it as well. So we also have the Son Goku Childhood from FB, or the promo, which is very easy to get in this season for the client. You just have to play a couple games, but is a little bit trickier to get in person, I think, right now. I don't have my copies, at least in person, but it's not impossible. It's just like you have to make sure you know how to get this card because it is a promo. But then the rest of the deck, I think, is pretty cheap. We do have to play, I think, 4 Yamchas. This is kind of like the main engine for this deck because we do get to play just any adventure cards, and then we also do have these Bulma and Son Goku Childhood, which honestly, there's a chance that 3 copies of this card is like the right number. I would say that you can play this deck with at least a minimum of 2 of these and a minimum of 3 of these. You don't get as much cycle from this deck because we aren't drawing as much, so you do have to be kind of cognizant of that. But by and large, I think this is a great deck. If you got a couple boxes of SB01, it's pretty easy just to convert them into this deck and to play with it as well. So not a lot to say outside of that, but there it is there. And that's going to be it for this video. I know, this is not something for everyone, but it's just like a good resource for people who have got their eyes on Fusion World for the last little bit and they want to try to get into the game. I think this is some good decks for you to, as your first deck to try to build and develop and try to learn how the game works. I think this is in a really good spot. So again, I think the best deck though is Giblet though. It's really easy to build. It's really easy to upgrade as well, and just kind of teaches you some of the combo math. It's a little bit trickier, I'd say, because you are kind of doing like an additional resource management with energy, but I also know a lot of people who like that. So I think Giblet is probably the one, if I was to start from day one, probably the deck that I would pick up as well. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.